most martial arts in this country, but a lot of martial arts in this country, especially kung fu oriented martial arts, are wushu, which is more of a sport. This is a real art, real kung fu, and it's a very big difference.
In autumn 2004, I learned about a kung fu class being taught in Cardiff. Mike Farr, the class instructor, had brought this style back with him from China after his previous visit 3 years ago. He informed me of his plans to take a group of his students back to Loyang, where he had originally learnt this art. He invited me to accompany them on this unique journey.
To me, this is a once-in-a-lifetime chance. And there's thousands of people in martial arts in this country. Thousands of people have essentially adopted a Japanese, Chinese, Korean, whatever martial art and turned it into a sort of Western sport. I suppose there's very few martial artists in this country who are doing something really authentically Eastern. And out of all of those, very, very few get a chance to actually go and meet the people who originated this.
The way I was taught is the way I teach my students now. It's like climbing a ladder. You can't jump onto the 5th rung if you haven't got your foot in the 1st rung. So there are stages, and those stages, you progress through those stages once you demonstrate understanding and the ability to conduct those things. Fang Quan is a traditional Chinese closed-door kung fu. This has been taught behind closed doors since, in Loyang and Junchuan, since the beginning of the Ming War period, 11th century. I'm currently 13th generation Tedang on master's side of the family, but it goes back further than that.
Our teacher is Mike Farr. Now he was trained in this art in China. His story is he was teaching English in China, and he trained in Chinese martial arts before he left.
So we were working for VSO. There was a woman called Karen who'd married a Chinese doctor in Loyang, and they moved back. They were married and they came to this country. He had someone he was teaching medicine to who had learned kung fu from Wang Hongjun. When he left Loyang, he asked his best friend Ho Jin Lee to introduce me to Wang Hongjun, my master, who was training in Dongfang Wushu Shuiao. Behind a big metal door, closed, locked, you couldn't get over into, you couldn't see through.
He asked to be taught and was refused point blank. But Mike being Mike went back again and again and again asking to be taught.
I was introduced to this very small man. Big smile, nothing much to look at. He looked me up and down, he asked me to do 1 or 2 things, I did them for him. Okay, come back tomorrow. I went back the next day. No longer training with someone on top, but to train, to learn from this guy. I kind of had this idea he was really special, just from the aura, from his presence. He's very small, very powerful man. After that month, I received a letter from him, a formal invitation to go to his home in Junchuan village. I went up there on the Sunday, and he made me a member of his family, because the real kung fu that he taught me can only be passed from father to son. Master trusts my judgment. Implicitly, basically, you're a good man, you have a good head. I trust your judgment. And I've passed on to my students. They say, a friend of mine wants to look at learning. Okay, well, bring him up and have a chat. Are they trustworthy? Are they decent people? I'm going to trust your judgment on this, the same as he's trusted mine. He's kind of passing it down the line. That's how we get students.
I was looking around for ages, looking for a kung fu school, couldn't find one, and then I came past a poster for this club, but it was the previous club, not this one now. It was with Mike and Tony and Paul. After a year and a half of doing that, Mike came back from China, and brought back this system.
A class typically lasts about 2 hours. Everyone warms up in the same way. We start off every time with 12 breaths, which is a breathing exercise, which is a lot about internal energy flow, expanding lung capacity, controlling yourself, controlling your breathing, calming you down, rooting you. After that, we generally have a brutal warm-up, which is all sorts of exercises, a lot of stretching, push-ups, various physical exercises, partner work, stretching.
Balance is the first thing that anybody will learn. Balance points, how to control balance. Stances. There are two main stances in this system. Gongbo or marble, or bow stance and horse stance. Those stances are the foundations of this art. They've got to be right, they've got to be strong. You know, if you can't stand properly, how can you practice Kung Fu? How can you practice any martial art? When I originally sort of put it to the class, everyone to a man or woman put their hand up. You know, it was a case of, well, no, really, not yet, maybe next time. You thought about what this really means? What about you? You're a student, you haven't got a lot of money, can you afford to do this? If it works, I'll be the happiest man in the world. Master will be as happy as me, probably happier. If it goes wrong, I don't even want to go there. I refuse to contemplate that.
Just come here from London Heathrow in Budapest airport, waiting for the next leg. 9 hours to China. I don't know what to expect. Everyone's told me, and I've spoken to people that have been there, and I've talked to Mike and stuff, and apparently we are all gonna get a major reaction, but you don't know how you'll react to it till you're in it. It'll be quite nice, I would imagine, because we're there for a couple of weeks. If it was a couple of months or a couple of years, then I'm sure it'd get annoying, but it's nice to be a little minor celebrity for a couple of days, I should imagine.
Welcome to Beijing, welcome to Liu Hostel. Some traditional Beijing music for you. Oh yeah? 大周板那个打起来，我心花怒放喜开怀，上台不说那老一套，我把那 England people 来介绍。
Yeah, we're all here, we're in Beijing, we've got our train tickets, we're going to be in Loyang on April the 1st. They'll meet us in the morning. There'll be probably a big sort of welcoming banquet type of thing, and then they're all really excited, to meet everybody.
On arrival in Beijing, the group seemed excited at the prospect of seeing real China. The first visit made was to Tiananmen Square, famous to most Westerners for the horrific scenes of violence by the army against the unarmed protesters in 1989.
Second day in Beijing, and it's an early start this morning because we're off to the Great Wall.
Trains are leaving around, I think it's 9:15, so we'll have to make a move. We'll have to have a chat when we get back this evening to sort of check out what time we've got to check out. 300.
This one very beautiful. 喜欢吗？你喜欢？好。Welcome China.
One for a large. Yeah, okay.
we're in London.
As the class left Beijing on the last leg of the journey to Luoyang, the tension levels could be felt. Mike seemed understandably nervous at the prospect of returning to Luoyang with the class and being reunited with his master.
We came in on a train this morning after a 12-hour journey. We met Mike's master and Mike's master's son at the train station.
Oh, it's mad just seeing these guys.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw them,
It's
my
like
God.
meeting TV stars or something.
It
You've only
is.
seen them on a screen.
We had a couple of hours here, then we were straight out then to a banquet. Basically just been chilling out for the day, seeing as training starts tomorrow. Main concern is I don't want to disappoint mainly Mike in front of his master. But no, it's a once in a lifetime experience.
I'm nervous and excited. Because we met the master and his son. It was weird meeting the master because he was like so humble and like so. You wouldn't expect someone like that to know or do what he does.
The reality of the skills and dedication involved quickly became apparent to the group on the first morning. They witnessed the master demonstrating his iron cross technique, the use of internal energy to protect the body. This provided an amazing insight into the levels to which this technique could be used.
The first one, I kicked him, and the second one, there was nothing more to give in that one. I really went for it, and he's laughing. And then when other people was doing it, he was just drinking water on a calm summer's day. That was amazing. That was amazing.
Chu Jijong is the Tombe master, and his latest apprentice was brought over. You won't really see Chu Jijong really practice. You won't see me really practice. You can see Wang Jun really practice. Apprentices, they practice, they demonstrate. We may show you a few bits and pieces, but it comes from there to the apprentice to the student. That's how it's always been, that's how it's going to be, that's how it always will be.
It's going so fast, but you have to keep up. There's a flavour when these guys do it that you don't get. And all the yeah. I've never seen anything particularly like these people.
Okay.
Bit intense, all these people watching, but I'm sure we'll get there.
They seem to be enjoying it. The students over there seem to be enjoying what they're doing. I'm happy at the moment. They're practicing from Dweida, they're practicing some techniques from Kung Chuan. That very high order things, very advanced, very devastating when you get it right.
It's good. It's hard, but it's good. We need this sort of training, to be honest. Training with these masters is great. You know, it's all we ever wanted, to come here and learn with people like this. And we're excited, really excited.
Today we've come to Long Men, which translates as Dragon's Gate. Long is dragon, Men is gate. It's probably the most beautiful place I've been in China so far. It's absolutely awesome. There are some sort of natural caves and carved caves, and within these carved caves there's I think up to about 40,000 Buddhas carved into these caves. There's the temple obviously over there that everything's facing, and yeah, opposite the river. It's just a really beautiful scenic location, but it also has a sort of special meaning to us because Elo, which is the first road, which was, I'm not quite sure whether it was created here or if it was just practiced and developed here, but it's also called Long Men Quan, and we are in Long Men. It's also called Sherba Lohan Chuan, 18 Lohan fists, I believe, as well. It's got a few names, but obviously Long Men Chuan, we're actually in one of the birthplaces of one of the sets that we do, so it's very sort of special for us to be here where it all began, really, with the masters of the day that are taking it on and passing it down to us.
It's really, really hot up there, and it's really difficult. They showed us a different version of Hung Shui that we're used to, So we're trying to just follow. I think it's one of the master's old apprentices.
As training continued, it became clear that the language barrier was an obstacle that could be overcome in a learning environment such as this.
End of the day training. It's been really good. We're in a really nice setting, just across the road from the hotel. We've been shown some basic things from our first set. It's slightly changed. It's not quite the same form we've been shown in Britain. It's a slightly more upgraded version, and we've been running through the set, showing the moves. We used to do like a village system, and we now do a family system in Britain, and this is like a combination of the two and a little bit more. So it kind of brings it all together.
The reason you weren't allowed to come in and film basically what's happening in the room. There are certain things, say the bits within the park where the general public will be there, and that stuff's okay to film, but probably been mentioned before 1,000 times, but it is still a closed door system, and there are parts which the people that aren't the practitioners can't see. There are parts that us as practitioners can't see until we reach different levels.
It's a lot different to what we've been taught and what we're used to, but pretty spectacular.
We are getting a better understanding of what we're doing, but at the same time, it's like, it's just going forward. It's getting like, we're doing more and more, and it's just getting it's more complex, more thinking to it, but it's awesome all the same.
Many well, hundreds and hundreds of Chinese parents thousands of Chinese parents want their children to learn Kung Fu in Shaolin. And there's loads of schools for their children and the tourists all back that way. And you see them practicing. But they're just practicing. Only the monks live here. If you look really, really carefully, there's a lot of Kung Fu given away in these pictures, if you know what you're looking for. Yeah, this is the second temple in Shaolin. All the pagodas you see around you contain the bodies of all the dead and venerable monks. The bigger the pagoda, the more important, the more students the monk had. The tallest pagoda here is going to be 7 stories. 9 was reserved for the royal family, 9 tiers. So the biggest one is going to be 7. The pagoda you saw at the very top is the oldest one. That's like a mass burial where there was a massacre. It's just over there somewhere. There's a really small pagoda. There's a young monk who was in the kitchen cooking, standing over a big pot, boiling rice, stirring, and he fell in. They ate, all the monks ate, and realised he was missing. And then when they got to the bottom, they found his bones. So they ate him.
Mike made us aware that his master had been asked to demonstrate his Kung Fu skills in Shaolin some years ago. I asked him to explain.
Came here in first time in 1983, and he was asked to demonstrate his Tedang Kung Fu. And he performed it, and the chief abbot Dachon at the time said, "This is incredible. This has been lost for over 300 years. And how do you know it? The family, my ancestors, gave it to you in the first place. When they asked for it back, I said, no, we've lost it once, why should we trust you again?"
As the trip progressed, the final training sessions took place. With the group learning at a more intense pace than they had ever previously experienced, they were becoming ever more aware of the dedication involved to master this sacred art.
Taught Tong Quan, being picked up on all our, bad habits, I suppose. And over there, the other students have been taught Tombi. And really intense stuff.
We're learning the first form of Tong from his. It's one of his disciples, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know if it's his first disciple or just one of his disciples, but he's very skilled. It's good to do this in this intensity. We took it a bit easy in the park because we were learning the whole sequence. Now we've sort of broken it down, and he's given us additional pointers on all the moves and correcting. I mean, we've got a few things wrong. He showed us quite quickly in the park, so he's kind of correcting and adding the other bits to that.
Two masters, disciples here to correct and show us this new system. Basically, we've just been running through that and having all our postures corrected where we picked up little mistakes, little bad habits, and just little turns, twists, which make things far more effective than what we first realised was possible. A bit hard to sort of explain unless you see them. Coming back to the roots of where everything's begun gives you a real feel for the system instead of just taking somebody else's word for it. We're living it.
Peony Flower Festival was beginning just as we left Loyang. The group reflected on their time.
Their skill level is so high. We practice moves at home, and we think they look good and we think they feel good. But these guys move in a different way, totally different speed, so much power. And to have these guys teaching us and correcting us is just awesome. It's a privilege and an experience as well.
On our return journey, the master took us to his home in Juntan, a small farming village outside Loyang. Here the students gained an insight into the true nature of real life in China from the master and his family.
I think being in China, being with Chinese people, and it's such an un-touristy thing to do. It's given an insight into the way these people live, why they live full lives. It's shown us how important Kung Fu is to them. It's different to us in the West, you know. The Kung Fu, still to a large extent, is something that we do after work, or we do in the evening when we finished. But these people, it's Kung Fu, that's their life. And to have a little bit of that rub off on us is really good.
Mike is honest person, good person, friendly, very friendly, honest. So my father taught Mike really Kung Fu. You know, Kung Fu is traditional Kung Fu, only give good people. Good people has good Kung Fu. Bad people hasn't good Kung Fu. I want Europe to know about Kung Fu, Fang Tong Bei.
I think training's gone to a whole new level now, so when we get back to the class, it seems to me that if you're going to be serious about sort of doing martial arts, it's got to become maybe more of a way of life. It's really impressed it much more on me now that it needs to be a way of life if you really want to be serious about what you're doing. Some of the martial arts that I know in the UK are very westernized. You are not going to get that level of martial arts without, you know, dedicating your life, and they do dedicate their life to it.
Being in China and doing it different, they have to kick their Kung Fu up a gear. You know, I apologise if you couldn't get everything in, but I think you may have seen enough. I'm hoping that their Kung Fu, or their perception of what Kung Fu really is, would have changed for the better. That's what I want them to get out of this more than anything else. Real Kung Fu isn't a sport, it's a way of life. You don't practice it, you live it. You become it, it becomes you, it takes over. When they get that, they'll really understand.